So I always say knowledge and education is a choice. Everything is there right now. So choose to know, because when you know things, you're confident to make decisions, and that is really empowering. Welcome to the Architect My Business podcast. I'm Aya Schlachter, your host, founder, and CEO of MGS Global Group. We provide architectural drafting and rendering services for busy firm owners and designers. From starting out solo to now leading a team of over 45 and growing, I've learned a thing or two about making a business thrive. Whether you're thinking of starting, already managing, or want to take your business to the next level, this podcast is for you. Each episode is packed with simple, actionable tips in leadership, people, marketing, processes, and of course, profit. I keep things real. Like you, I've got no time for fluff. This podcast is brought to you by MGS Global Group. Now, let's get into this episode. Hi guys, welcome to the Architect My Business podcast. It's been a minute since I recorded my last episode, and this is a solo episode. I normally do this in the beginning of the year, but it's March, I know, and honestly, this was intentional. There's been a lot of exciting updates and things going on in my life, and which is why I'm showing up today. So this year, I made a decision to slow down a little bit. I was juggling way too much on my plate, and I actually came up with a word of 2026, which is intentional. I want to be intentional about where I spend my time, who I spend my time with, and really prioritize things that matter to me the most, like family, my kids, and also protecting my energy this year. It's so easy to get distracted with all the things, all the shiny objects, but really gave me the time and space to really focus on what matters. So I think my father said, when you're younger, you have so much time, but no money. And the older you get, yes, you have a little more resources, but your time is really precious. So that's what I've been doing, really focusing on the things that I value that really helps my family and my team and my clients as well. While I've been slowing down in some ways, I've also been quietly building a few things that I haven't really shared a lot on social, but I'm going to be sharing them on this podcast. But today's podcast really is about how to run a firm in 2026 and beyond. I know I've been talking a lot about AI, and I also have a separate podcast called the AI for Architects podcast. But this podcast is really looking at running your business as a whole in the age of AI. So I will be sharing some of the research that I've done based on around 200 firms and what their concerns are. And I'll be addressing that, which is why we have the Architect My Business podcast, right? So what we're seeing right now is the profession is shifting. Clients are really, in my opinion, clients are really more cautious about spending. A lot of AI adoption and workflows are changing. That also changes different business models. Sustainability is a big deal right now. I mean, it has always been, but now with those powerful AI tools, we see them more and more being integrated in their workflows, and global competition is also increasing. And the progressive firms are moving really very fast, but some firms are left behind, and architecture is changing so fast. So I keep asking myself, what are firm owners underestimating right now? What are the blind spots that firms are not looking into? So, which is why I'm excited about this episode, because I want to share some of the research about what are the top 5 concerns that architecture firms are facing and where firms are falling behind. So stay tuned. It's going to be a lot. Take notes and let's get started. So 2026 firms are facing a new business shift, right? Whether it's geopolitical and what's going on in the economy and the industry trends. For many years, architecture firms really relied on a familiar model of just doing good work, building great relationships, and the referrals will come. And for a long time that worked, but today the environment looks really different. What is going on right now? Right now, AI is no longer optional. It should not even be just a tool, but it should be part of your business strategy and ops. I'll talk about that later. Firms and clients are very discerning now. A lot of firm owners need to have a personal brand. There are a lot of great architects out there, but people buy from people. So architects, if you don't have a personal brand, if you don't have your photo on your website, if you don't have an interesting Instagram account where people get to know you, you need to start doing that right now. And one of the biggest issues many firms are facing right now, really, even though people are really busy, is pipeline inconsistency. Some months are very busy, but other months are very quiet. I think this happens more in the smaller firms. And it really makes it hard to run a business when you don't know where your pipeline is coming from because of the market. It's hard to run a stable business with employees when you don't know when when your next project is coming from. So before we talk about growth, we need to talk about your internal processes, systems, especially around business development and marketing, right? Because those are really the important foundations in having a sustainable firm in 2026. But before we go there, I want to share what we're seeing in terms of AI, right? I'm Aya Schlachter, by the way, founder of MGS Global Group. We help architecture firms with architecture production. We're a team of architects helping other architects with schematic design all the way to construction documentation. But part of what we do is actually we also do a research. We have MGS AI Labs where we research the top AI tools in architecture production, ideation, sustainability. But we recently conducted a research of 150 architecture firms and how they're using AI from small, medium, and large firms across the US, Europe, Canada, and Asia, Australia, and the Middle East. So I'm going to give you a high level report on what we saw in our research. But in about a few months, we're going to be publishing that research report. So stay tuned. So what we've realized in terms of patterns in AI is that large firms of over 250 employees are integrating AI heavily into management and operational workflows. I see a lot of companies have their own intranet and search engines internally so that people across the firms in different offices already have certain standards, they have a library of information that's dedicated to them. A lot of firms are creating their own intranet. Synthesis is one company that does that. I know Christopher Parsons. He works with a lot of firms creating their own intranet for knowledge transfer. And that's really important, especially when it's hard to find and train new employees. Knowledge transfer is key. And I see that a lot of large firms are investing in this type of operational workflows. Mid-sized firms, on the other hand, are focused on adaptive modeling and workflow efficiency. When I say adaptive modeling, it's around tools like Snaptrude and Hector, and I forget the other one, but it has a lot of sustainability involved in terms of analyzing the environment before actually designing things, right? And you can check out the AI for Architects podcast. I do a series of AI tool reviews, especially around sustainability and what bigger firms are using right now. We also found out that smaller firms are experimenting more aggressively with generative design with Nano Banana, ChatGPT, Midjourney. So those are the things that smaller firms are using, especially around ideation and pre-design. What I see in terms of patterns across the region, in Canada, based on our research, a lot of firms are more using AI for sustainability focused tools. In Asia, they also, again, use the tools for carbon and operational efficiency, sustainability as well. In Australia, firms are using AI for documentation workflows. And in the Middle East, it's a lot of generative experimentation like Journey. But the takeaway is simple, right? AI is no longer theoretical. AI is no longer about tools, but it's really the way to run your firm in 2026 and beyond. And if you don't know where to begin, you should start slow, start small, experiment here and there, because firms that don't use AI could really get replaced sooner rather than later. I went to a keynote. I saw this keynote in AEC Thrive, I think. It's AEC conference produced by PSMJ, one of the keynotes said, if you don't use AI, RIP. And right now, as a CEO, I've actually used a lot of AI tools in my tool stack, not necessarily in drafting documentation, but just hacks and how I can be more efficient with my time, content creation, generating ideas. I use Claude as my co-CEO, bounce ideas off of. So I know people are thinking, okay, most of you are using AI. Why are you talking about AI? But a lot of people that I know are actually not using AI yet. So I think we should start now, start slow, and just kind of research what other people are doing. It actually can really help you with your time management and, believe it or not, profitability as well. Speaking of AI, I have a new project. If you follow me on social, you probably know what I'm doing right now. Years ago, my dream was to build an architecture conference for business owners. It was just a pipe dream until I met Nikita Morel. She's a messaging strategist for architects. She's based in Australia, and we met at the AIA in DC, and she said, why don't we create our own business conference for architects? We were blown away by AIA and the depth of their lectures. It's about around architecture, sustainability, running a business. And she said, let's do our own conference. And I thought that was kind of crazy, but yes, we are building. We just launched the ArchiCon 2026. It's the only unboring business conference for architects, and it's happening in Melbourne, October 8 and 9, 2026. I know, I'm crazy. My first conference is not even in the US, it's in a different continent, but it's really exciting, right? We're excited to bring ArchiCon because the goal for ArchiCon is really to build a global conference for architecture firm owners, because we realize that a lot of conferences are centered around the US and the UK. And we live in a global economy. We have the same problems globally. Architecture is going through a shift right now. So what we're trying to build through my global network and Nikita's global network is really create this global company, and we call it the Unboring Business Conference for Architects. Our dress code, guys, no black. A lot of architects wear black, so we're making it really different. Our format is different. So we are in the midst of planning it all. We just announced our keynotes. Our opening speakers. Since we don't want it to be boring, we hired Nick White. He is a former architect and now a comedian, and he will be opening on day one. Tim Ross on day two, one of the OGs in architecture. He, I think, is also a comedian, but everybody knows Tim Ross in Australia, and he will be speaking in day three. And then we also have a featured AI speaker, which is Stefan Mikulik. If you don't know him, you need to know him. He is a really cool guy. He's one of the top voices in the AI in the AEC industry. He has a course that has reached over 1,000 students, architects, firm owners in 74 countries, and has reviewed over 1,500 AI tools. So he's coming to our conference in Australia. There's two major speakers that I don't want to announce yet, but I guarantee you will know them if you're in the architecture space. Even if you're not in the architecture space, people know are the speakers that we'll be announcing shortly. So one of the things that we did when we opened the waitlist to ArchiCon is really to ask our audience what it is that you're looking for in terms of running your firm in 2026. We've gathered over 200 surveys, and this is interesting what the statistics says about what are the top concerns architects are facing right now. The top three is business development and marketing. Guys, a lot of firms are really exploding right now, but again, it's all around business development and marketing. 35% of our survey are concerned about business development and marketing. The second, 33% is around AI and emerging technology. And then the last 15% strategy and growth, and then 11% systems and processes. So what does that tell you about the industry right now? Architects are taught how to master their craft, but not taught how to run or grow a business. And this is the reason why we're building ArchiCon, because we want architects to really be excited about their future and not get chained to their desks. A lot of architects still have this kind of culture of burnout, right? So I don't want that. We started our businesses to have, in my case, I started my business to have time freedom and not get chained to the desk. And I recently just came back from a 5 day retreat in Puerto Rico, and I forgot to bring my laptop charger. So my laptop died within my first 2 hours in Puerto Rico, and I didn't need to check my emails. So this is what I want architects to do, like be able to unplug and have a good, sustainable business that is run like a machine, right? That's the idea. But really, what does this really tell us? It tells us that pipeline anxiety is real, right? Even profitable firms struggle with forecasting, visibility, and consistent opportunities. If you're running a growing architecture firm, you're probably not short on projects, you're short on people. Talent shortage is real. Finding and retaining skilled professionals takes time. Meanwhile, deadlines keep getting closer. And when you're balancing growth with quality, it gets harder to maintain your project standards as the work piles up. We are here to bridge the gap. We provide qualified architecture staff on demand so you can scale your delivery without compromising quality. That's what MGS Global Group does. Whether you're overwhelmed with construction documentation, need BIM support, or your internal systems just aren't built for this level of growth, our team plugs in seamlessly. Think of us as an extension of your in-house team without the long hiring process. And because we work across time zones, your projects keep moving even after your office closes for the day. If your timelines are starting to feel stretched and your team's at capacity, visit mgsglobalgroup.com. We can get started in 24 hours. We're here to help you scale smarter and deliver faster with quality, consistency, and peace of mind. And one distinction I often talk about is the difference between marketing and business development, right? Marketing is really getting people to know who you are, but business development is when you go to conferences or go to networking events, and you need to really do two things because many firms blur the two. But again, we need to make sure we're doing marketing, create awareness around our brands, and personal brands are really important. And to be honest, that's how MGS Global has grown to where we are right now. Like we used to do a lot of outreach and go to conferences and do my speaking engagements. But right now we're really focusing our efforts and energy on marketing and Instagram, LinkedIn, content creation. But when I say marketing, I'm not selling, I'm providing value to the customers through our blogs, our podcasts, our YouTube channel. We actually have a YouTube channel called MGS Drafting, and we're at about 1 million views and over 5K followers, where we share the latest AI tools, the latest trends. So this is what I'm talking about. When you're an architect, try not to sell, but provide value to your ideal customer through blogs. I see a lot of architects talk about, finishes or walk through their buildings so that their potential clients will know you and trust you if you really show them who you are as a person, as a personal brand, and what you do behind the scenes. This is marketing. This is not business development, right? So now that I'm really deep into marketing and awareness, I want to talk about the 3 systems the firms need in 2026. Running a firm requires 3 core systems. One is the visibility engine, right? Have you heard that clients purchase from you if they see you at least 8 times, those 8 touch points? Before they buy from you, they will check your LinkedIn profile, they'll check your Instagram, they'll ask around, they'll check if you've been on a podcast. Again, that's the visibility factor. They'll see if you have spoken in different industry events. So really, your visibility as an engine. So you need to have a really good digital footprint, right? So I know people are like, I hate social media. It's a waste of time. Why should I show my food to the world? You'll never know if you show the world that you make your own pasta, right? You might get another client who's interested in architect who makes their own pasta. In my case, I used to do triathlon way back then. And when I met this person who has been a client for 8 years now, we bonded through triathlon. When he found out I was a triathlete as well, then we started working together. So it's really important to share your stories, whether it's walking your dog or sharing your dog on your website. Again, there's so many dog people, cat people out there. Sometimes it's a decision whether you hire an architect with a dog or no dog. And this is real, guys. So again, visibility should be your engine. Don't be afraid to show yourself on social media. visibility matters more than ever because right now in the age of AI, anyone can create content. There's a lot of AI generated content out there that is crowding the internet. So show your face, show yourself, show your processes. And I know it's really hard to do, but I always say if you don't do hard things, if comfort is your goal, mediocrity is the outcome. So you really need to put yourself out there if you really want to run a really good, successful firm with a good pipeline. Also, consistency is key, right? Okay, just because you did one video or one reel this month doesn't mean you don't do it again next week. So you need to really be consistent because one viral post won't build a firm. You need to be visible consistently so people know you. People don't forget you. Recognition is equal to trust, and trust equals opportunity. So don't forget that. The second system I'm going to be talking about is the relationship capital, right? Visibility gets attention, but relationship really converts it. In this economy, trust really closes the deals. The firms that win the most projects are not always the most talented firms or the best architects, but the people who build relationships. They're often the firms that client trust the most. Relationship capital, I talk about this. It's as simple as going to your son's soccer practice or the church event. I landed my biggest client by going to my high school reunion that I didn't want to go to. It's like, why should I go? I went to high school in the Philippines and they invited me to speak. And I did. And I really didn't want to do it because I was a little awkward in high school. And you know how that goes. So I did. And my co-panelist was this businesswoman who wanted to build a lifestyle mall in the Philippines. So she hired me on the spot. And now that mall is standing in the Philippines, which also got me an award at the AIA Cleveland as, one of the People's Choice Awards. So my point is build relationships. Don't hide in your basement. Don't hide in your office. Go to that event, go to the concert, and don't just stick your events or don't just go to architecture conferences. Try to explore other networks, right? Whether it is the real estate network, construction, your church events, sports, anything, right? One of the things that also helped me was to join an entrepreneur organization called EO. So if you join different organizations, they can actually expose you to other entrepreneurs that may require services, but building relationships are really key. I know it's very challenging. Like I am an introvert, believe it or not. I feel awkward going to an event by myself or going to a dinner by myself. But later on, when you actually develop these relationships and just get over your fear of being alone in a networking event, you feel really good after. I've built my network through grassroots efforts, and I know people all over the world, believe it or not, through my podcast and just through getting over my fear of meeting people and being uncomfortable, which is why I'm really excited about ArchiCon, because the people that are coming to ArchiCon are the people I've met through my podcast in New Zealand. Stefan Mikulik was a guest and he's coming to ArchiCon, again, building relationships, and it will connect the dots later on. And you'll see your pipeline is going to increase, right? Because of relationships. So I know I talk about marketing and being really active on social media, but relationship building is still the key, right? The relationship capital is still the key to really closing the deals. A lot of firms, the bigger firms don't even do social media, or they do a lot of content creation, but a lot of firms, in conjunction with being visible online and marketing, the firm owners and the CEOs are really out there meeting people, going to industry events. So I think if we can spend 90 hours drafting and doing documentation, we can spend like 3 to 4 hours a week trying to meet people, even in Zoom, right? Connecting with other people. So don't be afraid to leave your office. The third one is AI assisted operations. Again, AI is not about replacing architects. It's really about optimizing us and really as a tool to help us with our processes and time management. So inside firms, AI can really support documentation workflows. We have been experimenting with MGS AI labs and some of the tools that could help us with our documentation. And it's really saved us a lot of time. And when you save time, you're actually protecting your team and culture because they're not burnt out, right? I'm not saying it's going to replace us, but it really helps with time management. People can go home early on the weekends. And it's just good to have that kind of AI assisted tool. I always compare AI to like peeling potatoes, right? If you run a restaurant and you have to peel 1,000 potatoes, will you peel it with a hand peeler or will you get an industrial size machine to peel 1,000 potatoes? So that's how I see AI. It's just helping you with your workflows and, really a time saving tool. Other, like it can help with proposal writing. There's a lot of AI tools that help you with proposal writing, market research, CRM automation, marketing and content creation. That really helps me a lot. I create a lot of content. AI doesn't write for me. I write most of my content through our research, but it really helps me with SEO and organizing my thoughts so that it's easier for my audience to read my newsletter and also generating ideas or what are the top trends that I should be talking about on this podcast, for instance. So I think there are a lot of positive results to using AI. Like you can deliver faster, higher, it really helps with finding errors, right? Like I used to ask my husband to proofread all of my work and my content. Now I can run it by Chat GPT or Gemini and it can help me generate like with spell check and also reorganize my content, right? A result of using AI is less burnout. And one last one is more capacity without increasing headcount. So now firms can become more profitable, especially around marketing, business development, if they know how to use the AI tools. And I talk about AI tools in the other podcast, but it's really important to use all these three to really help you build your pipeline. So that's why I'm talking about these three systems to help build your pipeline, because that is one of the things that firm owners really worry about, right? Your pipeline. And as business owners, it's our responsibility to actually provide pipeline for our employees because we're the business owners, right? Like it's our responsibility to do payroll, to make sure the office, we can pay for rent, electricity, and all our software costs that we incur. So again, as business owners, it's our responsibility to build a pipeline. And the three systems that I suggest are your visibility engine through social media and marketing. Second is relationships. Don't forget to go out there and meet people. And lastly, AI assisted operations. Dabble on AI and see how AI can help you with profitability, less burnout, and more capacity and without increasing headcount. So at MGS, we see this firsthand. Many firms come to us because they need additional production capacity without increasing overhead. But whether it's in documentation, workflows, or project delivery support, the goal is the same, right? We need to help firms stay focused on design while keeping projects moving forward. And AI can really help with that. We are an AI forward firm, so we use a lot of AI in our company. But again, we have a very strict QA QC process that is really important when we do project delivery. Why am I saying this? I'm saying this from the standpoint of, as a firm owner, don't rely on AI 100%. You guys are architects. You are still signing and sealing the documentation. So it's still really important for humans to check out everything before it goes out the door. So I hope I was able to deliver value to you and you've learned a little bit about how to increase your pipeline or just have a pipeline. Like based on what I said, the survey that we asked 200 architects that's still the number one. How to build the pipeline, business development and marketing is something that they really lack in terms of, knowledge and education. In my experience, before I started the podcast in 2020, I had 8 employees and maybe a handful of clients because I started my podcast, because I started showing my face out there, because I've been speaking in different stages. We have over 100 projects at a time, and now we're at 60 employees. So don't underestimate the value of marketing and putting yourself out there. Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with a simple idea that I've been really thinking about lately. It's really about, again, like my word of the year is intentional, right? So what about you design your intentional firm, right? The firms that succeed in the next decade won't just be the most talented, but They'll be the firms that really spend time on intention, like who is their target audience? How can they serve their clients the most? What kind of value can they provide? Intentional things like visibility, making sure that the right clients can find you. Mark LePage, founder of Entre Architect, mentioned to me in our podcast that you need to be very clear about your target audience, that you repel the people you don't want in your as your target audience, right? As your client. Those were strong words, right? You be so clear at your target clients that you repel others. So visibility is really important. Second, relationships are really important. Don't hide in your basement or in your office. We started a business. A lot of architects are introverts. Put yourself out there. We also need to rely on technology and systems, how to use AI strategically. AI can really help us. Again, it still needs human oversight, but think about how you can integrate AI in your workflows right now. In that way, right, we're not just reacting. That's my goal for architects. A lot of architects are always putting out fires. They're working overtime. They can't hire fast enough. They can't collect fast enough, right? So we need to design firms that are intentional around what are your AR and AP processes? What are your systems? Do you have stage gates? Do you have project deliveries? Do you have project milestones? Right? You need to design your firm so you're not reacting constantly to what's going on in the economy, geopolitical, your clients, even hiring and project documentation, all that. You need to be intentional about building your firm, not reactive. So I hope that I was able to share some of the tips that we've used in MGS as well as our research that we've found to be successful. Again, I know I'm talking a lot, but I hope that you can really, maybe if you can take one thing from this podcast, maybe start posting about yourself, your personal brand. Maybe start a story or a video about, hey guys, I'm at my office. This is my computer. I'm working on schematic designs for the sustainable home we're doing in Martha's Vineyard. Things like that, right? So maybe that's my challenge to you. Maybe do one story this week. Let's see what happens. Okay, I know this is getting long, but I have one more final announcement. For the longest time, I've been trying to build a community for myself, my tribe. And I recently announced on March 8th, International Women's Day, that I am launching a community called the Aya Alliance. It is a community of female firm owners who want to run sustainable businesses. It's really a community of sharing, collaboration, knowledge transfer, not competition, but sharing. I really want to share what I've learned, all of the mistakes I've learned in the past. And I want to share that with women firm owners. I'm going to be talking about that more in the next few months. But Aya Alliance is a community of women firm owners. And Aya is my name, but it actually also means amplify your ambition. A lot of times, women work quietly. They don't want to ask for what they deserve. We dim our lights. We don't know how to negotiate contracts. This is why I want to build this community so that women can be more comfortable and confident in asking for what they want. So I want women to build sustainable businesses, grow as leaders, support one another, and be excited about their future. No anxiety around what's going to happen, right? So I'm really excited about the Aya Alliance. It's not a competition, not comparison, but a community. So if you want more details, just follow me on social, Aya Schlachter on Instagram, Aya Schlachter on LinkedIn. And I'll be talking about that more and more in the coming months. So thanks again for tuning in to the Architect My Business podcast. It's been a pleasure talking to you all. I miss you all so much. I promise I'll be creating more and sharing more content. We have a lot of amazing guests coming up in the pipeline. And if you really want to run successful businesses, look at our past episodes. I've interviewed so many amazing firm owners in the Architect My Business podcast. And if you want to learn more about AI, check out the other podcast, AI for Architects podcast. There's so much value there. I've spent hours on researching guests and researching tools. So I always say knowledge and education is a choice. Everything is there right now. So choose to know, because when you know things, You're confident to make decisions, and that is really empowering. So again, thanks so much, and I'll see you at the next episode. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Architect My Business podcast. If you want more, head over to architectmybusiness.com for more episodes, show notes, and links to everything mentioned in this episode. Don't forget to catch our mini shows, Her Space, Ask Aya, and our main show, Architect My Business. If you enjoyed our episodes and want to hear more, please leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Your feedback really helps us grow. Stay tuned for the next episode. Bye!